morning, everybody. Happy Monday. Happy Monday. Good to see you this morning. Tisdale Tiana. Hey, good to see you on Facebook or Instagram. Sorry. Glad that you're here. Rob Key. Good to see you this morning. So glad that you're here this morning. Yeah. Diana, good to see you this morning. So glad you're here. See you joining me on LinkedIn. Give me a hey. Give me a hey in the comments if you are joining us on any of our channels this morning. Good to see you this morning. We're getting ready to do something good on the Monday Mindset Movement. So glad that you're here. Delgado, so glad that you're here this morning on the Monday Mindset Movement. Woo-hoo. We're getting ready to get started. Here we go. What's up, everybody? What's going on? How you doing? Happy Monday to you. Welcome to the Monday Mindset Movement. So glad that you're here. I'm Robert Kennedy III, RK3. That's me. Welcome to the show. 15 minutes, 20 minutes of motivation, elevation, and inspiration designed to get you rocking and rolling through your week. Designed to get you thinking. Designed to get you in a new space. Launching you into a new season. OMG. We are here in the place to be. Listen, if you have not yet joined our text list, you want to know when we're going live, text GO LIVE to 240-557-8679. That's right, text GO LIVE to 240-55-STORY, 240-557-8679. And hey, y'all, I want you to share the show. Rabia XYZ, so glad that you're here. Fancy Creations and Homes Decor. So glad that you're here this morning on Instagram. Share the show. Do me a favor. Go on over to your share button and choose 2 friends that you want to share the show with this morning. We're going to get started. We're going to rock and roll this morning. Woo! It's going to be good. It's going to be good. It's going to be good. Let's get started with this thing right. If I can find my buttons right now. Let's go. Hey, y'all, what's going on? Hey, I forgot my questions this morning. So here are my questions. Are you taking command or are you coasting? I know some of you might have some goals and resolutions, but are you approaching them like a chore or are you approaching them like a champ? What do you really believe is possible for you? Hey, welcome back to the Monday Mindset Movement. If you've not connected with us before, head on over to MondayMindsetMovement.com and see the old shows, see all the stuff that we've been doing over the last year plus. My goodness, we've been talking about positive thinking. We've been talking about limiting beliefs. We've been talking about achieving and crushing your goals. We've been talking about high velocity decision making. Head on over to the YouTube channel or join the Monday Mindset community at MondayMindsetMovement.com to see all the previous episodes. I'm so glad that you're here this morning. D. Bowden on YouTube. So glad that you're here this morning. Glad to see you. If you're here on LinkedIn, do me a favor. Just type your comment in the chat. Just say, hey, good morning, Robert, on the chat so I can pop you up and give you a shout out on screen. My goodness. So here's my question for you this morning. Do you feel like you can do something great? Do you feel like you can do something great? And I'm not just talking about just great, like, yep, I did something decent. I'm talking about great. like amazing great, like worldwide great, impactful great. So I asked that question because I've been pondering a lot of my own actions. Anytime I come to you to talk about stuff, I'm not pointing the finger. A lot of the time, I am speaking to me and thinking about how I'm showing up. So, do you feel like you can do something great? And maybe the second question behind that is, do you really believe it? And if so, how is it showing up in your actions? Are you saying it with your mouth? Are you saying that I believe there's greatness within me in with my mouth, but are your actions timid? What are your actions like? Do your actions reflect the greatness that you believe? As my kids would say, are you saying you're top tier, but your actions are mid? Yeah, right? I'm asking these questions because I'm guilty. I'm guilty. I've been guilty of saying that I wanted to do something or accomplish something. I had something that I wanted to accomplish, but my actions didn't follow. I've been guilty, and maybe some days I'm still guilty of letting my fears dictate the intensity of my actions. Is that you? How many of you are guilty? You know, let's call ourselves out. Let's raise our hands. If that's you, just type me in the chat. I've been guilty of letting my fears dictate the intensity of my actions. Me, right? I've read a lot of books, leadership books, personal development books, finance books, business books, marketing books. And one of the things they all have in common is sometimes they can make it simple. They can make it seem simple to create success. One person created success. This is how they did it. This is how you can do it too, right? This is what the books say. But then you start doing that thing. You start following the blueprint, and you realize that it's not easy, and you realize that some of the success or some of what people are able to accomplish is based on positioning. It's based on past experience. It's based on time. And one of the things that's happened to me sometimes as I've read some of these books is I've had the feeling or the thought that because I didn't start doing certain things in my 20s, it's impossible to have the results that I want if I start in my 40s or my 50s. Right? I've read these books and they say, yeah, I was a multimillionaire by the age of 25 and then I lost it and then I gained it again and this is how I did it. And you start to feel like, wait a minute, nope, I didn't grow up in that environment. Yeah. Have you felt like that? Have you felt like it's too late? Hey, Pink City Official, how you doing this morning? The Melissa Jakes, good to see you on Instagram. Tisdale Tiana, yeah, right? Why do we feel like that? Why do we feel like it's too late? Why do we say that we want level 10 greatness, but take level 4 steps? Ask yourself, be honest. When I look at what I want and what I'm doing, does my effort match my desire? And sometimes the problem might even be, do I know what I want? When you set goals, when I set goals, when we set goals, are they level 10 goals? I do some work in a small business program, and when we're generating ideas, we ask the question, are those ideas grounded? Are they blue sky? Or are they spaced out? So as you think about goals, and I'm talking about goals now because we're approaching that time of the year. For those of you that are here in the United States, it is the middle of November this week, and we've got about 5 weeks or so before we hit the new year. We've got about 2 weeks before people start to talk about the new year and resolutions and what do you want to achieve next year. And the question that I want you to ask as you begin to think about that, as you begin to think about the new season, as you begin to think about the new year 2024, are your goals level 1 or 2 grounded, or are they level 10 spaced out? Because here's what happens. A lot of us, we make level 1 goals. We make level 2 goals. Things that we know that we can accomplish, things that we know that we can achieve if we put in a little bit of effort. But are we creating goals that are large that would require a level 10 effort in order to come close or achieve it? All right, somebody's saying goodbye to me. They're saying they're going to catch the replay. All right, so glad that you're here. I'm not sure who that is. I'll check after. Yeah. But are your goals level 10 goals, or are they level 2 goals? I've told you the story before of Diana Nyad. If you've never heard the name before, go look her up. Diana Nyad, and I'm not going to go into all of the details of her story, but I want to tell you enough to share with you this morning what took place in her story, right? Diana Nyad swam from Cuba to Florida. She's the first person to do that. She swam from Cuba to Florida. And for those of you that are familiar with geography, that is 110 miles. Right? She swam 110 miles from Cuba to Florida. Here's the thing. She did it at the age of 64 years old. She did it at the age of 64 years old, and it was her 5th attempt. Right? She tried 4 times before and failed, and at 64, she finally succeeded in swimming from Cuba to Florida, right? And that took about 52 hours and 54 minutes. So just shy of 53 hours. Each day is 24 hours. 2 days is 48 hours. So she spent more than 2 days in the water swimming from Cuba to Florida. And here's the deal. She used, at 64 years old, it was her 5th attempt. Her first attempt was at 28 years old in 1978. Now, I've shared with you the basics of the story, but I want to go into some depth about the conditions that she faced and how she did it. So number one, at 64 years old, she made her 5th attempt, and that's when she succeeded. And I want to point out that she had this level 10 goal, this huge goal, this big goal, and she made it because she had experts around her, right? She had experts around her. I'll come back to that a little bit later on. She had experts around her. And what these people were doing was there was one person, or at least a couple of people, that were responsible for protecting her as best they could from jellyfish. Then there was somebody that monitored her heart rate. And then there was somebody that gave her food. And then there was somebody that gave her water because, yeah, she couldn't drink the seawater because that is salt water and she would dehydrate a lot quicker, right? So there was there were people around her that helped her reach or helped her on the way to this level 10 or this large goal. Now, here's some other stuff that I want to share with you. She took a 30-year break from swimming. So she made her first attempt in 1978. And then shortly after that, she took a 30-year break. Now, here's why that's important. How many of you have ever had a goal, or how many of you have ever attempted something great or attempted to achieve something and then you fail at it and then you don't do it anymore? You don't try it again. How many of you have ever had a goal that you missed, and then you just stopped. Diana Nyad took a 30-year break from swimming. She didn't do it. She didn't do anything. She didn't train for 30 years. But over the course of those 30 years, clearly this level 10 goal, this big idea, this thing that she wanted desperately to accomplish was in her mind. And she constantly thought about it. And as she thought about it, the closer she came to her 64th year, or maybe I believe she was about 58, 59 at the time, she began to say, yep, I've got to not just speak about this thing. I've got to not just talk about this thing. I can't just have a level 10 goal with my mouth, but my actions are level 2. I can't just have a top tier goal with my mouth, but my actions are mid. I've got to do something. So she took a 30-year break. Then she comes back and she trains and she does everything that she needs to do for this thing. And here's the deal. This was not the Olympics. This was not a competition. This was just something that she decided that she wanted to accomplish or achieve. This was her on her own. This was just Diana. And so she decided that she's going to go back and attempt this. And then she attempts it a second time and a third time and a fourth time. And she fails all 4 times. And then by the time she gets to 64 years of age, she's so locked into this thing that she decides she's got to do it again. And here's what happens. Here's what happens. You would think that when people aim to accomplish a goal, that they train for it, and the more that they train for it, the easier it becomes for them to accomplish that goal. Here's what happens. You can train and you can train, but there are just some things that you can't duplicate or simulate. So she begins to train for this thing, and the day comes and she starts out swimming, and she's got these experts around her. She's got people around her protecting her as best they could from jellyfish, but they were not 100% protecting her. They were able to, they could only push away what they could see. There were still jellyfish that came up from underneath and stung her. So she was getting stung this whole time. She's in the water for almost 53 hours, and she's getting stung by jellyfish the entire way. And then she's got people that are giving her water and food. And most of the time, she was vomiting. She was throwing up this food. And the whole idea was to keep her hydrated and keep her nutrients in her body so that she wouldn't dehydrate. But she was vomiting most of the stuff. And this 53 hours was not an enjoyable 53 hours. In fact, it was 53 hours of misery. So why did Diana Nyad do this? Why did she decide that she was going to put herself through this? Why did she decide that, come hell or high water, she was going to make this achievement possible in her life? Here's what happens with a lot of us, and I'm looking at my phone here because I want to find something that I wrote down the other day. I'm reading this book by Grant Cardone called Be Obsessed or Be Average. And there's a quote where he was talking about how he was watching his dad, and he was watching his dad do some mundane activities. Okay, rake the yard, cut the grass. He asked his dad, "Dad, do you like doing this?" And his dad said to him, "You don't need to like what you're doing to love what you're doing." Right? He said, you don't need to like what you're doing to love what you're doing. And what he meant by that, his dad was focused on doing the things that it took to take care of his family. That was the thing that he loved. That was the goal that he was after. And in the process of that, there were some things that he didn't necessarily like, but he did them because they helped him do the thing that he loved. right? So Diana Nyad, in this case, went through the misery, went through the pain, went through the discomfort. She may not have liked being stung. She may not have liked being tired. She may not have liked throwing up, but she loved the journey. She loved reaching this goal that, or the journey that it would take to reach this goal that she'd been thinking about for more than 30 years. In a word, she was obsessed. And I know some of us don't like to hear this. I've had moments in my life where I didn't want to hear this, but you can only achieve greatness if you're obsessed. I want you to think to every great athlete or leader that you've ever seen or heard from or written a book or read about in your life. Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, Larry Bird, Martin Luther King. You can, the list goes on. Golda Meir, the list goes on. Mother Teresa, the list goes on. You can only achieve greatness if you're obsessed. And what does being obsessed mean? It means that when you set achievements, if you've set a purpose, if you've set a goal, if you've set an idea, it's a level 10 idea, and you're pushing towards that level 10 idea, no matter what. I'm hoping that y'all are getting this morning. I honestly, when I created the title and the outline for this show, I had some different thoughts in mind. And as I began to write my outline, as I began to think, it started to develop a little bit differently. And I'm hoping that you're getting this morning. I hope this is something that somebody needs this morning. Greatness requires obsession. I don't know. Have you ever had that moment where you were doing something and you were just so locked in that you forgot to eat? What were you doing when that happened? What was the thing that you were locked in? You were focused. You were obsessed at the moment. You were heads down. You were passionate. You were locked in. And as you think about the end of this year, as you're thinking about going into 2024, as you're thinking about what you want to accomplish in the new season, what are you obsessed about? What do you want to achieve? And are you willing to put in level 10 effort to reach a level 10 goal? I want you to take this on over the next 7 days. I always leave the show with some action steps for you, and I want you to take this on over the next 7 days. I want you to get a pen, paper, whatever it is that you write with. It may be your iPad. I don't care what it is. It could be the Notes app on your phone, whatever it is. Here's what I want you to do for the next 7 days. I want you to do this every morning. I want you to commit to doing this every single day. I want you to write down these 2 questions, and I want you to answer them. I want you to write down, what do I want to accomplish most? And I want you to challenge yourself to answer it at the greatest depth of your heart as possible. What do I want to accomplish the most? I don't want you to overthink it. I just want whatever comes out every morning, I want you to write that down. Don't grade it. Don't dissect it. Don't overthink it. Just write it down. What do I want to accomplish the most? I want you to write that down every day for the next 7 days. And then the second question I want you to answer is, what does freedom look like for me? What do I want to accomplish the most? And what does freedom look like for me? I want you to write those down every day for the next 7 days. And when you come back next week, I want you to share with me in the chat what your results were, or what resonated with you, or what came to mind. Or you can feel free to share it with me by going to getintouchwithrk3.com, or you can just get on our text list by texting Go Live to 240 right below me, 557-8679. Right? What do I want to accomplish the most And what does freedom look like for me? We're approaching the end of the year, and many of us are launching into a new season. We're setting goals. I want you to think differently as you head into this new season. Ask yourself the questions. What are you obsessed with? What are you passionate about? As you set your goals, what are you level 10 about? I want you to decide that you will go into your new season with passion. Decide that you will go into your new season with power. Decide that you will go into your new season with purpose. Today is Monday, and we want you to shift your mindset to a place of growth, but it doesn't just start and stop on Monday. We want to encourage you to take your Monday mindset into tomorrow and the next day and the next day. Be curious, make a choice, move, start a movement, be a movement. Join me next week, Monday at 8 a.m. for the Monday Mindset Movement on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube. Hey, yes, I'm waiting to see ya. Greatness and nearsightedness are incompatible. Meaningful achievement depends on lifting your sights and pushing towards the horizon. Dan Pink. Hey, y'all. Make the rest of your week a level 10 week. I'll see ya. Peace.